Good afternoon. This is Arun Tewary from Dubai. And what we are going to talk is why in many cases the IT management strategy is not aligned with the business strategy. And if we look at the current corporate scenario in last 2 decades, the entire corporate world has undergone a massive transformation in its landscape. Things are evolving. And along with that, many of the related functions, they are also undergoing very, very transformational change. And IT is no exception. So now what is needed is a more collaborative and agile IT strategy. And if that's not there, then it's bound to fail. And this is the topic which we will touch upon. Look at what are the reasons of such disconnects and failures, how to mitigate those. And the way we will look at this is, if there is a gap between what is expected, or gap between the expectation and the reality, what in reality is there, that gap is called as disconnect, and that is where the failure begins. So looking at that, in this presentation, we will address 3 segments. Analyze the non-alignment between IT strategy management, needs and expectations, missing links in IT strategy and management, and underlying currents and challenges, because there are many other factors in addition to the change in the corporate landscape, which are also contributing to this disconnect between IT strategy management and business strategy and business needs. Let's first begin with attempting a definition for a CIO. And if you look at on the right side, just below the box, a CIO, I have picked up a very fancy definition. The reason being that I have myself been CIO many, many years and still playing that role. It says CIO is an entity which is at the heart of the business and gateway of innovation. What is expected from us is all sort of innovations. We are the epicenter of innovation, and expectation is that we would lead such innovation initiatives. And if we go by simple definition, a CIO is a C-suite executive who is responsible for all aspects of information technology, including organization, process, and systems. And he or she also helps develop vision and strategy of the organization and ensures availability of aligned systems and processes. The aligned system being referred here is indicative of the alignment between the IT strategy and the business strategy and business need. That's what is being referred to as aligned systems. So now, having looked at what the CIO is, let's also look at what is currently needed or expected from a CIO. First point is, CIO's role is of a strategic partner with business. Gone are the days when we were able to survive talking technology only. Now the expectations much more, and technology is a part of that. Moment a CIO starts giving more weightage and gets dominated by technology only in his or her approach, it would start creating some confusion. Reimagine entire IT. That's approach, the strategy, the operating models, communication and interaction with business. The entire landscape has to be reimagined and reworked. Get value from outside and people from inside. What is being referred here is look around what's happening globally. What are the best practices emerging, the new technologies, the new way of working. Get the value from outside. And to the extent possible, try to groom the internal resources. Resourcing is a big challenge in the current days. So everybody would be, all the organizations would be required to look for the resources from outside, but it would be a good strategy to try to reskill internal resources also. And then after exhausting that option, then there's still a gap in the resource requirement, try and source from outside. A new agenda for digital business and beyond. Currently, I'm working on a very, very ambitious digital transformation program. In fact, I have started using the term digital acceleration because pace is required. So the total definition, the approach is, as I see it, what I used to do it previously is, and compared to that, what I'm attempting currently, there's a significant difference in the approach in terms of the starting point, the roadmap, the expected and projected values which it would give this digital transformation program, and all such factors. So very, very aligned strategy. And the last one, when we look at, this term is being used quite frequently these days, and more so by gardeners. Term is hunt and harvest. And I was quite curious, try and understand what is being meant here. It's referring to looking for suitable solutions, the new technologies, the new trends from outside, examine those, validate if those are of use to us. At the same time, try to gradually sunset the legacy systems, or take an approach where we can continue with those without making it too expensive, as long as it can. So the approach is hunt and harvest. Get something. At the same time, if you have something in-house or there are capabilities, the harvesting. So as the term uses, hunt is one time, one attempt, and the prey is with you. Harvest is a gradual phenomena where you grow something and work with that. So this term quite commonly being used, and I'm liking it, hunt and harvest. What are the competencies required? And this reference is for the CIOs. Top of the list is leadership skills and business acumen. If I'm not familiar with the business processes, the business challenges, the way forward of the business, there's no way I, as a CIO, can come out with an aligned and good strategy to take my business forward. CIOs should also have competencies in business transformation. Because talk and theme is business. And bringing a new technology, without looking at the processes and bringing any transformation in the process is a futile attempt. It's just a waste of money. It will not yield business value and benefit. Business transformation, governance, talent management, resourcing is a challenge. It's difficult to get resources, and it's more difficult to keep them motivated and retain them. So talent management is a very, very needed competency for the CIOs. And another very important one is communication. There should be continuous, clear, and convincing communications across the business about what we are doing, why we are doing, and what is coming next. And then interdisciplinary background and knowledge outside IT. Only technology knowledge will not help. How other departments, other functions, they work, there should be a familiarity for those areas also. So these are the competencies needed at this point in time for the CIOs. If we have most of this, it's fine. We are bound to come out with a good IT strategy. If not, we need to develop those and then mature. What's the current environment? Top of the list, there's a wider penetration of vendors. Gone are the days when the vendors would only get through in the organization through IT. Now they are able to go anywhere in the organization. Users have also become very aware because of the cloud, availability of all the information related to new software and success stories and business cases and all those. Users are also aware, and vendors can also reach them directly. And it will be a very, very futile attempt to stop. I tried myself few times. Then I realized, no, the better approach would be collaborative working rather than trying to sort of stall and stop them. And many of my colleagues, they are using the terms, and you would have also heard that the term is shadow IT. I would avoid using that term. So environment, the first point is wider penetration. Then we have got things like SaaS and PaaS and everything as a service that's now available, because current economy is service based. So this term is quite a powerful statement. In a service based economy, the equation and the approach changes. Paradigm shift in the development methodology, the tools. So now it's time of DevOps and microservices, low code, zero code, so many things, new things coming up. We have more aware business users. Their knowledge level is about the technology is much higher. That's how the world is moving. So that brings in another challenge. I would see it as an opportunity. A challenge is there, but it brings in an opportunity as well. And generally, there's a feeling in many organizations amongst the users that if we route through some development work or a new requirement through IT, it gets a bit bureaucratic and hence slows down. If we go and talk to the vendor directly, we can roll it out just like that. This I also face many times. It's challenging, but we need to sort of collaborate and work in a manner whereby the corporate IT remains intact and we remain safe. So having looked at what is the environment, what are the competency and skill sets required, and where do we stand, we come to the disconnect. And I like this quote from one of the Gartner reports, which is very well summarizing the impact of the pandemic and other factors on the IT, and trying to define what will be the CIO's agenda now onwards. I think this presentation would be published later on. I leave it for you people to go through it, because we have very less time. So I will continue with our presentation. The next slide. What are the reasons for failures? Some at very high level. The top of the list is the IT strategy does not link up to organizational business strategy. This is the most common cause. Then we have got siloed business, parallel digital strategy. And moment you see that an a department is trying to get a software independently and trying to work out their own IT roadmap, that's a clear sign that there's a parallel digital strategy going on in the organization. And to this phenomena, many of my colleagues, they use the term shadow IT, as we talked in the previous slide. That's not a good sign. That needs to be addressed in a collaborative manner. Otherwise, each and every department will start picking their own software and implementation, and all those challenges would come. Another one is lack of influence of IT department in the organization. Success guarantee becomes higher if the CIO and the IT department is strongly supported and blessed by the CEOs and top management. If not, then it creates a lack of influence, and hence the challenge in decision making and implementation and strategy formation. Next one is inadequate communication. This is from the CIOs or the IT department to the business. We must be very clear with continuous communication, sharing with the business what we are going to do, what is next, what is the value we'll get out of such initiatives, and why we are doing it. So if communication is there, everybody is in sync, everybody would be walking with us. Then another one which I do not know how universal this phenomenon is, but I noticed it, this excessive control by procurement department. They will like to get involved with everything at every stage, which slows down the process. Fear of change is the next major factor. Fear of change from the IT side, fear of change from the business. And the last point, which also is very important, is that we didn't do a good job. When I say we, I am representing the CIOs. We didn't do a good job in coming out with some strong mechanism which can demonstrate the value of what we are doing. We still talk about 98% uptime and all sort of those statistics, whereas we should be talking as to what this activity or this system gave as a benefit to the business in terms of business languages. So fine, these are the reasons. Now what can we do? Top of the list, it's very obvious. Develop aligned IT strategy with strong governance. Aligned is again aligned with the business strategy. Avoid using the legacy terms like IT is a facilitator and service provider. No, we are the front runners. We run with you. We will take you where the organization has to go. We are not there just as a facilitator. We will facilitate, but we are leaders also. Good stakeholders management is another major thing which would help in avoiding such situations of failure. Our communications, rapport with other stakeholders, sharing with them, taking their inputs, what we are doing, and that will shape us very matured IT strategy. Sell in a convincing and confident manner. Not necessarily whatever we propose will be accepted, but if you are challenged in the boardroom, stand up and sell in a convincing manner. Speak business languages and speak upfront. That would help. These are some of the things which, based on my experience, I could think of that if applied, it might help the situation and we might be able to come out with good aligned business strategy, IT strategy aligned with the business. And with this, I come to the end of my rapid presentation. Just now we saw the T20 World Cup, so I think I am still in that mode. And thank you very much for your time. I'll be very happy to receive your comments